Okay, it seems super weird to not be starting off a vlog with like a good morning, but it is just past 4 p.m. on Friday, and that means we are officially starting BookoplAthon, which started at midnight UK time, and here in Arizona we're like 8 hours behind. So we're actually starting at 4 p.m. We have our first roll, or like the 2 choices for the first roll, and the book that I'm going with is going to be The Vampire Rules by Michelle Maddow. This is for the paranormal prompt, and this is a prequel book to her, I think, Dark World series. I have not read any of those, but I do have the prequel book, The Vampire Rules, already. I think it was probably like a free book on Kindle or something, and I've had it for a while. I haven't started reading it yet, but it's only 116 pages, so it is definitely something I can get done today. All of our rolls for the next 48 hours, well, actually, it won't be full 48 hours because, like, obviously we'll have to have time to finish the last book, but for the next, you know, this weekend, anytime we hit 4 a.m., 4 p.m. here, we will get a roll. So that is the book I'm going to be going with. Presley is currently doing his last nap of the day. We don't always do a nap this late in the day. However, he had his like afternoon nap at like 11 something. He just didn't have a very good nap schedule for whatever reason. I don't know if it was just he didn't have a nap early in the day, or if he had it too early, woke up at a weird time. I don't know, because I know how lucky I am to have my in-laws still here, and they were taking care of him this morning so I could sleep in a little bit. I started my period yesterday and I'm just super tired, have a sort of headache, but I am for sure going to finish The Vampire Rules tonight before I go to bed, because I want to be fresh and ready in the morning for a new roll, because the next roll will happen at 4 a.m. tomorrow. But yeah, so I guess that's my update for now, because I need to go read. Someone woke up from their nap, so we're cuddling. Yes, we are. Yeah. I've gotten about halfway through the book right now. I think I'm at like 45 or 50% of the way through. It's really quick and easy to read. I will talk about it more later, because like I probably only have read like 50 something, 60 pages at the most, because it's a really short book. But we're currently watching little Einsteins. It's paused right now, so there's no noise in the background. But yeah, he really likes to just sort of cuddle and chill once he wakes up from a nap. So that's what we're doing. Yes, with a show for him in the background. I like little Einsteins in the fact that they have a lot of like knowledge in it, but it also has like classical music and paintings and stuff. So I don't mind this as like a kid's show very much. So we're doing this, and then it's just past 5 o'clock right now, so that half of the book didn't take very long. And we're gonna have dinner later. Big yawn. I will talk to you guys hopefully once I've read more. So, one problem with reading a book on my phone is this one. Can I have it? Thank you. You can have it back. He likes to steal my phone. Yes. And he has, you know, been known to take pictures of his forehead and the, you know, the ceiling, the wall, that kind of stuff. But when I'm trying to actually read on a phone, it would help to have the phone. Okay, so it is almost 8 o'clock. We've had dinner. It's gonna be bath time for the baby, but I did just finish the book. The Vampire Rules by Michelle Maddow. I think I'm giving it a 3 stars. It was very middling of the road for me. I understand it is a prequel to a series, and so it probably didn't have as much character or world building as I really would have liked. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera because I was going to pull up some of the stuff. So I did highlight some lines and stuff in here just because of the fact that, like, I know this is, I think, about the main love interest in whatever series it is, and it's about Jason being turned into a vampire. He was, like, on the road to the Olympics for swimming, like, apparently, like, the next Michael Phelps, and he ends up getting picked up in a bar, or he picks up her in a bar, and her name is Layla, and she ends up being, like, the queen of a town of vampires and stuff like that, and then she turns him into, like, the prince of the vampires. I didn't like him very much, and I don't know if he gets better in, like, the series, and this is just like, oh, he's sort of young, he was, you know, sports, but he was very misogynistic at the beginning. One of the lines that he says when they're trying, like, him and his friends are talking about picking up girls, is that it was a scientific fact that the lower the cut of a woman's top, the easier it was to get her into bed. And then he says, like, well, it's not scientific, but we've run experiments. I did like sort of the, I guess it wasn't even necessarily foreshadowing in this book, because we knew in the summary that this is about him becoming a vampire from Layla, but, like, he's trying to pick her up, and she said that she's like, I've always been the more nocturnal type, and he says, a night owl, and she says, a vampire. So, like, I liked that sort of funniness. Like, she's flat out telling him, and he's just like, no. I did think it a little bit weird that, like, he was supposed to be, like, on track for the next Olympics, and, you know, he ends up getting turned into a vampire, but they did sort of, like, cover up their tracks and stuff, so it wasn't anything too crazy that way. But this is definitely a, like, turning into vampire story, and so because of that, we have a lot of, like, bloodlust and that kind of thing. It was a quick read. It took me a little bit longer than I thought it should have, just because of the fact that, like, the baby stole my phone, we had dinner, that kind of stuff. But that's part of the reason I picked such a short book for my first read for this readathon, because of the fact that I never fully know how much I'm going to be able to read. I do a lot of my reading in bed, so I wouldn't have, like, even necessarily started this book already, but I'm glad I got to finish it before we, like, go put the baby to bed. We won't get our next roll for this readathon until 4 a.m. So I usually end up waking up around like 3, 4, 5 because of the baby and having to, like, feed him, put him back to sleep. But I think I'm gonna wait to look at the roll until I'm able to, like, grab this camera and we will actually figure it out together and then pick a book. So yeah, we're gonna go give the baby a bath, put the baby to bed, and then I will actually see you guys in the morning. So it is morning this time. It is actually about 9 a.m. I know the roll drop hit at like 4, but I wasn't gonna get up at 4 if I didn't have to. So I slept in until 7 something, almost 8, had my shower. I posted a video this morning, which I'm, like, super happy about. It's the Umbrella Academy book tag that I created myself. So I've been posting that and answering people's, like, comments and stuff. So now I think we're finally ready to see about the rolls. So I have you guys here with me. These are some of my bookmarks on Twitter, and I think they're just gonna be in here.
2019 board roll number 2. 6. A book that is culturally diverse.
And then we have the second board.
2020 board roll number 2. 3. Viewer recommends.
Okay, so a culturally diverse book or the viewer recommends. I have absolutely no idea what I'm gonna do for this one right now. I definitely have books that are culturally diverse that I think I want to get to. They're just longer than I was really hoping to do in this type of video, because I've been taking not like a ton of time to read books, but like the last like major big book I read was like 300 and something pages, and I think I took 3 or 4 days to read it because, well, that was a really good book, and I just needed time to like digest between each part because it was like a major hard sci-fi book. Gosh, okay. Let me take a little bit of time because I'm seeing more things pop up on Twitter about my book tag, and then I will get some options and be back. Okay, so I decided to go with viewer recommends just because I thought it'd be a little bit more fun. Most of the books I have here are going to be culturally diverse, or at least the authors are as well, so we will definitely see what people pick. I used emojis because I didn't want people to like really gravitate towards what I'm thinking they probably would. This is the longest book of the 4, and I know Talia Hibbert had just released the second one in that series last week, 2 weeks ago maybe, and so it's been getting a lot of buzz. I really do want to read it, but a 400-ish page book when I have until 4 p.m. It's like almost 9:30, and actually I gave it an hour on this poll, so I won't actually start reading until closer to like 10:30, 11. So I have, you know, 5.5 hours ish to read the books. But yeah, so this is what I chose to sort of go with. The cat is obviously laying on them now, but we have Witchy, which is a graphic novel we got in the Owl Crate 2 months ago. So not June, but May. This is about a society, or, you know, a place where they have magic, but it's tied to how long their hair is, which I think could just be very interesting. It is a graphic novel, so it's gonna be pretty quick to read. We have Every Heart a Doorway. I keep meaning to read this. I have picked it for like so many readathons because it's short. Everybody seems to love it, and I just haven't read it yet. Then we have Running with Lions. This is, I haven't been saying any of the authors' names. Witchy, Ariel Slamet Rise, Shauna McGuire, Julian Winters. So this is written by a black author. It is LGBTQ, and it has sports in it, you know, just, you know, in case we wanted to do that. And then Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is written by a black author as well, and this is a romance. New adult, I think it is. So we shall see what people pick. These are all books I really want to read. So like, I'm not going to be mad at any of them. However, like I said, by the time the poll is done, I'm not gonna have a ton of time to read. And I have my son and everything. He's currently with Nine, so I think they're just sort of playing in the other room, which means I will be having him shortly. So yeah, I think if I was going to pick, I would really pick probably either Witchy or Every Heart a Doorway. The other two, I still really want to read. They're just slightly longer, and so I'm not looking forward to it as much. But we'll see what you guys pick. Okay, so this is a little hard to hold because he's sitting right there, but my poll should be done on the Twitter for the book that I'm going to read. Yes, hi. Okay, so we're just scrolling down. Oh! Here we go. Final results, 44% out of 142 votes is for Witchy, in case we couldn't tell from the emojis I picked. So basically in order was Witchy, Get a Life, Chloe Brown, Every Heart a Doorway, and Running with Lions. So they picked the shortest book. Thank you. As you can see, what I'm dealing with right now. Thank you so much for that. I am actually very, very excited for it. It's actually on my TBR for this month, and I almost read it a couple times already this month, but I knew it was on my TBR, and it was a graphic novel, and I was going to be doing BookoplAthon, so I was trying to save it just in case it fit a prompt, and I guess it didn't fully like fit specifically like a fantasy or anything like that, but we've picked it now, so I'm very, very excited. It is almost 10:30, so I should be definitely having enough time to finish it by 4. My husband has now gone to get groceries at the grocery store. We only go out like once a week, if that, for groceries. He wears his mask. We are being very, very careful because Arizona right now is the highest growth of COVID in the world per population. I don't know the full like top cases that are going around, but per population, we are the highest growing amount of COVID, which is ridiculous because everything was shut down like mid-March through May-ish, and we were really, really low compared to like anywhere else. And then they opened shit up way too early, and now we're the highest growing and things are still fucking open. Like, it's super annoying. I know our governor did a like press conference, I think it was like 2 days ago, and literally the only thing he really said was that restaurants need to be at 50% capacity or less, which was already the edict when we opened up. So like literally nothing has changed. But if you are in a restaurant, you're not wearing your mask, but at least in Maricopa County, you're supposed to wear a mask if you're anywhere in public. So I don't understand how restaurants even work. I mean, we have a set of friends that own a restaurant, so like I completely understand running a business and having to do it that way, but like at the same time, the highest in the world right now. So obviously I'm staying with the baby while he's doing grocery store runs. Huh, baby? Yes. Okay. Yeah. I would get my book, but it's over here. It's actually at the very bottom of that pile. You guys are also seeing my, you know, behind the couch mess. That's all my shit, so yeah. Okay. Say we will see you guys again once mommy has done her book. Yeah. At least now you guys can see why I didn't want a 400-page book that I had to read by 4 p.m. Because we're reading hand, finger, thumb over and over and over again instead. You ready? You want to read? Yeah. Okay, so I'm currently on page 76 of this. I'm actually really enjoying it so far. So basically we have our main character of Nynaeve. I'm probably mispronouncing that horribly. I'm just doing my best with context clues. It's N-Y-N-E-V-E. And when I say context clues, I mean like Neve Campbell. As an actress, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce her name, and hers is like N-E-V-E as well, so I'm hoping it's right. But basically this world is, you have magic and it relates directly to how long your hair is, and if you have too much magic or your hair gets too long, you could be killed for it by witch burners. And that happened to our main character's father when she was really, really young. So she has long hair, but she basically hides it with magic. She's not very good at magic, and so she doesn't want to be assumed that because of how long her hair is, she's going to be good at it. She doesn't want to join the like guard that most, you know, really powerful witches go to. I don't know, there's something about her that I really want to see where this is going to go. And then we do also have a trans character that has just popped up, and I'm just loving the interaction between her and Nynaeve, and so far I'm really, really enjoying this. Again, I'm only on page like 76, which is maybe about a third of the way through or so. I need to read more. We are going to have lunch soon, and then I am in charge of dinner tonight, which is a crock pot meal, so I will have to also sort of put that stuff in the crock pot soon as well. I have until 4 to finish this, and then the next roll drop will happen, so this will happen for sure. I also am doing a video project that is sort of secret for now. I mean, it's not like a big deal, but like it's more for me, and I've gotten behind on editing for it because of doing other normal videos, so I'm gonna try and do some more editing today since it's the weekend and my husband doesn't have to work. He works from home, but you know, a lot of the times he's working and I'm with the baby, or my in-laws are with the baby, who's actually currently napping right now, so that's good because I did not get as much reading done as I thought I was going to because of him. But in between reading the other stuff for today, I want to do some editing on that project because, like I said, I'm getting behind. But lunch will be ready soon. I'm going to be reading more of this. Okay, it is 1:45, almost 2, so we definitely made it in time for 4 o'clock. And I finished Witchy. I actually think I'm gonna give this like 5 stars. It was just a really, really nice graphic novel. I loved our characters, and my only issue is that it ended and we don't have anything listed on Goodreads or anything for like a second volume yet. Like, I need more, and it definitely set up for more. So we'll see where that goes, but basically everything that I told you about before is what this is. It does follow our main character of, I'm gonna call her Nynaeve, I don't know if that's actually correct or not, and her sort of having to deal with the way society has their witches by their hair, but she doesn't feel like she fits in because even though her hair is longer, she doesn't really know how to focus her magic or anything like that. And we do come across a slight potential like rebellious plot as well. I just really, really enjoyed this one. I loved the characters, like I said, and I want more. So I'm so glad I read this. This was great. Now, like I said, it's almost 2. I'm gonna go try and do some editing of that stuff that I told you guys about that I needed to do, and then I will see you guys again at around 4 for the next roll drop. Okay, it is like 4:03, just past 4. He wanted to help. I've been in the office for the last like hour and a half, almost 2 hours. I've gotten some editing done, but I need some pictures and videos, yes, off my phone, and I haven't like backed up that stuff off my phone besides iCloud since November of last year, so I'm really behind. So I'm trying to, yes, figure out a good way to do that. But hopefully we have our roll drops done now because I want to know what we're gonna do.
2019 board roll number 3. 3. A mystery or a thriller. 2020 board roll number 3. 10. A book you've been gifted.
Okay, so we have either a mystery thriller or a book that I have been gifted. Okay, this is gonna be the same sort of thing. Let me go take a look and see what we have, and I will be right back. So I think what I'm going to be going with after looking at all my stuff on Goodreads, because I have shelves for both my normal books and my Kindle books, is I think we're going with 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. This I do have on my Kindle app on my phone, which I want to say this will be easier to read, and in bed it definitely is. However, as we saw yesterday, it's not necessarily the easiest to read with my son. He loves to steal my phone. But I think this is what we're gonna go with. I couldn't really pull up a good sort of short book I had been gifted because I buy most of my books, and it was just one of those things where I'm like, we'll see. But I did have some mystery thriller stuff, and this one, like I said, is on my Kindle. It's currently stated that it's 270 pages, so slightly more than I was hoping for, but based on going into the Kindle, like the book on the Kindle app, it says that it takes like an average of 4.5 hours to read. So that is definitely doable. And I don't know much about it. It is a mystery. I believe it is about somebody who writes books. A chilling tale of psychological suspense and an homage to the thriller genre tailor-made for fans. The story of a bookseller who finds himself at the center of an FBI investigation because a very clever killer has started using his list of fiction's most ingenious murders. Yeah, so it looks like he's not a writer like I was first remembering, but he is a bookseller who put together a list of like perfect murders, and somebody is now going around using that to kill people, and it says it's a psychological thriller. I actually do prefer that, especially like in movies and stuff, so I'm hoping to really like this. And I technically have until, well, I technically have tomorrow as well, but if I want to do like a book every 12 hours, I have until 4 a.m. for this one. I'm not staying up that late, but that means I can start it now. It's about 4:20-ish, and then hopefully I will finish it tonight. I might have to end up reading in bed once we put Presley to bed, just depending on how quickly I'm able to get this reading done. But yeah, I think that's what we're going with. 8 Perfect Murders. I've heard mixed things about it, but also not a ton of things about it. So we shall see. Hi, baby. Okay, I'm only 3% into the book, but I did just want to like mention they're spoiling Agatha Christie, which, I mean, isn't a big old spoiler. Like, I just read Murder on the Orient Express this month, like last week. It was one of the last books I had read before this readathon started, and even though I had never read the book and never really heard anything about it, I did remember hearing like what the answer was to the book, like I guess the reveal, and it's not the same book in here. They're talking about a different Agatha Christie novel, but they are talking about spoilers. So I have a feeling that this book, because it's 8 Perfect Murders and it's based on other mystery books, if they are all real mystery books, like the Agatha Christie one that they're talking about, hi, then they might be spoiling more. We shall see. I'll let you guys know. I'm not fully upset because Agatha Christie's like, it's old stuff. Murder on the Orient Express was like 1934, so. Hi. But yeah, just wanted you guys to know. Well, I got about 19% of the way in before he stole my phone. Yes. You took the phone. So it's 5:30. I'm actually gonna have to continue making dinner soon. I did a crock pot. It's like a chicken pasta thing. So I'm gonna have to actually like cook the pasta to go into the stuff. Hi. So I probably won't read more until after dinner since, you know, he has stolen the phone. But I do, I guess, want to mention again, there are spoilers. So the whole book is based on the list of 8 perfect murders. Yeah, thank you. That our main character wrote like years ago when he was working at a specific bookstore. He has a different bookstore now. And I do really like the fact that he loves books. Like, I used to work at a Barnes & Noble and like loved that job. Like, that's probably one of my favorite jobs I've ever done. But there are 8 books on the list, and so, hi. So they did talk about the actual list for a little bit, and that didn't have like tons of spoilers, but since then, him and the FBI detective that he's talking to have gone through and gone into more detail on some of the books, and most of the books I had not heard of. One of them is the Agatha Christie ABC murders, which, again, I'm not too put out about that. And then the other one, I guess I'm not put out about any of them, but like some people might. And then the other one that I have heard of before was The Secret History by Donna Tartt. So, hi. The other 6 books I had never actually heard of. They seem to be older ones from like the 1940s, 50s, 60s. And, hi. But they are spoiling them. So if that's something that you want to read, I would definitely maybe look up to see what books they include. And we'll see how much more they get into it. Ow, you're hurting me. His elbow's going right into my chest. Okay, I will talk to you guys later. We are going to be doing dinner, but there are spoilers in 8 Perfect Murders. This is the first time I have done a clip at night with reading vlogs. I usually just read in bed and talk in the morning, but I wanted to make sure I finished this book before I actually went to sleep tonight. It is 10:35, so it's actually not very late, and I have finished 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. 2 stars. 2 stars. I made myself finish it because by the time I was like getting bored and sort of annoyed with it, I was 40% of the way through. I think I got 20-ish, 25-ish, almost a whole quarter of the way through before dinner. And it felt very like setting up the book, so I wasn't like worried that it wasn't going to be good or anything like that. But as it just went on, I don't know. So our main character of Malcolm is our narrator, obviously, and he's the one that had wrote the 8 Perfect Murders like as a blog post, and he gets contacted by an FBI agent saying, hey, we think some of these murders are based on this. And he's sort of questioned for it, sort of not questioned for it. He's not a very personable person. He's definitely one of those like stereotypes of like not a people person. All he loves is books. And so there was a lot of book talk, but it was a lot of like mysteries, literary mysteries. Like, again, a lot of the stuff in the book is spoilers for other books, and these are like real books, but they were sort of old and not really ones that I want to necessarily read, except for some of the Agatha Christie stuff. But again, those are old enough that I don't think it's necessarily a big deal if I know some of the spoilers. But yeah, so I just started to get really bored. I know in the summary of this book, it talks about like twists and turns, and I think extra murders that happen because he like gets embroiled in this like what's going on. After he gets started to be questioned by the FBI, there's only one other murder, and it wasn't even very interesting. And then I feel like, I know I talked about him being sort of stereotypy, sort of tropey. I feel like the book was as well, and it didn't do it very well. One of the major things, and I don't think this is going to be a spoiler because I'm not going to name names, but it did a trope that I hate in books, where it's basically the murderer, the whodunit, is one of those like, it was the pizza guy from the beginning of the story, haha. It was just one of those things where like as soon as they said who it was, they put a name on the page, and I, for the life of me, could not remember who it was. I was blanking so hard, and I just read this book in the last, you know, I think it took me 4 hours total, probably over about 6 hours because of dinner and everything. But like I had just read it, just read everything, and I couldn't for the life of me remember who this person was. And it's because they only really show up like twice in the book until they're revealed as the murderer. So yeah, I'm giving it 2 stars because it was just very flat. I don't know if it's just like, I don't know if it's like a more of a domestic thriller mystery. It wasn't thrilling at all. Domestic mystery? I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm glad I'm done with it. I'm gonna be going to bed. We will have a new roll already ready for us in the morning when we wake up. But yeah, very, very disappointing. I'm so glad I purchased this as like a Kindle book on sale for like $3, I think. Definitely not worth more than that. Okay, I'm starting my day at almost 10 o'clock again, just because, you know, waking up, shower, that kind of thing. But we are gonna be going on to Twitter to find the final roll drops. I have until 4 p.m. to read whatever prompt that we are going to pick, and my computer is being very slow.
2019 board roll number 4, 6, a young adult fantasy. 2020 board roll number 4, 11, a contemporary or a romance.
So young adult fantasy or contemporary / romance. Now, unless I decide to read an adult romance or something like that, that probably won't be the one I pick. I'm gonna go like look and figure out what I want to do first and then come back to you guys. But more likely than not, it'll be a young adult fantasy, which actually, I mean, Witchy was a graphic novel, but otherwise I've read like an adult paranormal novella, the fantasy graphic novel, and an adult contemporary mystery book. So yeah, either a romance or a young adult fantasy. Let me go take a look because again, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do yet. I also need to make sure that I can read it by 4 p.m. today with my son. So I couldn't exactly pick, so I did make a poll, which currently has no votes because I literally, 1 vote. I just made it. So again, like I had mentioned before, we're going with either YA fantasy or contemporary / romance. I picked a book for each genre. They're both, I think one's like just slightly over 300 pages and one is closer to like 350-ish. I can definitely get these done. I just don't know what I want to do. I'm so indecisive right now. But the book I ended up picking out for YA fantasy is Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson. This one has to do with witches and, you know, bringing your friends back to life or something like that. I've heard good things, but it is, you know, one that I haven't picked up personally. And then one that I have picked up recently is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. So this is for my contemporary, it's romance. It's a new adult, I believe. Maybe possibly just adult, but it's romance. I also do really want to get to these. I can't make a choice. You'd think I could because this is the second time I have picked out this book for this vlog and then put it up to a vote. So we'll see. I think this was the second choice on the last time, but I'm giving it an hour. It's currently 10:25, so by 11:30 we will know what we're going with, and then I gotta get to reading because I only have until 4 p.m. today. I mean, by 11:30 I will have 4.5 hours to do it, but that's gonna be pushing it for some of this. So I'm talking to you now. You gotta let mommy read her book today, okay? You look to daddy for confirmation? Okay. Okay. He's cuddling, watching his songs, which I paused. Yes. For just a second, because we apparently have the results of the poll. 105 people voted. And we're going with the YA fantasy. It won by 61%. Well, I guess it was 61%. I don't think it won by 61%. Whatever. YA fantasy. Okay, so we're going with If I Can Reach It. Here we go. Undead Girl Gang. Mommy gonna read a book? Yes. This is the shorter one out of the two, so that's good. Okay, I'm gonna read. He's gonna watch his kid song music stuff. Yes, you are. It is almost 1. I'm like 23 pages of the way into my book. I stopped for lunch, and then we did a Zoom call with my brother and sister-in-law to see my new niece, who was born on the 8th. She's super little and cute, but yeah, I got distracted. It is now going to be time for Presley's nap, which Daddy's going to take care of, and I'm going to be reading more. And just like 2 minutes late, I have finished this book. Yeah, I finished it at like 4:02. It's a very, very solid 4-star read. Basically, who is our main character? I just finished this book. I don't even remember. Mila. Haha, Mila. Basically, her best friend ends up dead, which people had been ruling it a suicide, but she knew that wasn't the truth, and so she decides to resurrect her with some witchy magic, and she comes back for a week. But not only that, 2 other girls that had also committed suicide come back, and it's all about them sort of trying to figure out who the murderer was. It was a really, really fun, like, ride. I love the writing in here. I do think it was a little bit predictable, but, like, again, it was just a really nice, good, solid 4-star read. Not a 5 or anything like that, but I really did enjoy it. I love this cover, too. But, oh, the camera. Say hi. Go eat your avocado. But yeah, we have officially finished the whole readathon. I actually really enjoyed the way that this readathon was done as well, with the drops like every 12 hours. I don't know, somehow it just made everything seem a little bit more like anticipation, especially since I pretty much would finish the book I was reading before the next drop happened, and so it was a lot of like waiting and anticipating reading more books, which I think was actually really, really fun. Like yesterday, I don't even think I'd necessarily mentioned it, but I read like 538 pages yesterday. And yes, one of the books I read yesterday was a graphic novel, but at the same time, that's like great. I haven't read more than like probably 200 pages at a time in a while. And like this book, just over 300 pages. So again, reading a lot at once, and it was just really, really fun. I'm definitely looking forward to more of this kind of readathon. I think she is planning on maybe doing like a month-long one or something like that. I mean, any sort of like weekend or week or anything like that where we get like prompts every so often where it's not all at once, I actually think is a really good idea. But otherwise, yeah, that's it. I had a really fun weekend, and even though it's only like 4 p.m. on a Sunday, I think this was a great experience. Say bye-bye. Oh, we're gonna clap instead. Okay, bye-bye. Oh, the camera. Bye-bye.